From NATO spendings to Putin and to Brexit, the US President Donald Trump touched upon various issues during his address at the NATO summit in Brussels. Donald Trump hailed tremendous progress on defense spending commitments by NATO members. The statement comes after emergency talks with fellow NATO leaders prompted by his demand for allies to boost military budgets immediately.
I believe in NATO. I think NATO is very important, probably the greatest ever done. But the United States was paying for anywhere from 70 to 90% of it, depending on the way you calculate. That's not fair to the United States. In addition to that, as you know, we're in negotiations with the EU, and we're going to be meeting with them next week. We've been treated very unfairly on trade. Our farmers have been shut out of the European Union. Now, you could say they're different, but basically, to a large extent, they're the same countries. So I think we're going to be ultimately treated fairly on trade. We'll see what happens. But I can tell you that NATO now is really a fine-tuned machine. People are paying money that they never paid before. They're happy to do it. And the United States is being treated much more fairly.
On his upcoming visit to the UK, US President Donald Trump said he is aware of the protests expected to be held during his UK visit. Trump said Britons like him a lot, but chose to keep his cards close to the chest about Brexit.
A lot in the UK. I think they agree with me on immigration. I'm very strong on immigration. I made a point today. I said, you've got to stop. You're ruining you're going to have a lot of problems. You see what's going on throughout the world with immigration. I probably, at least partially, won an election because of immigration. If you look at Italy, Giuseppe, who I got to know quite well over the last month and a half, he won his election because of strong immigration policies on Italy. I think that a lot of the people in the UK, I think that's why Brexit happened. Well, Brexit is, I've been reading a lot about Brexit over the last couple of days, and it seems to be turning a little bit differently, where they're getting at least partially involved back with the European Union. I have no message. It's not for me to say. I own a lot of property there. I'm going to Scotland while I wait for the meeting. I have Turnberry in Scotland, which is a magical place, one of my favorite places. I'm going there for 2 days while I wait for the Monday meeting. But it's not for me to say what they should be doing in the UK.
Trump is expected to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin after his UK visit. On being asked about his relations with Putin, Trump said Putin is neither his friend nor his enemy, but a competitor.
He's a competitor. He's been very nice to me the times I've met him. I've been nice to him. He's a competitor. Somebody was saying, is he an enemy? He's not my enemy. Is he a friend? No, I don't know him well enough. But the couple of times that I've gotten to meet him, we got along very well. You saw that. I hope we get along well. I think we get along well. But ultimately, he's a competitor. He's representing Russia. I'm representing the United States. So, in a sense, we're competitors. Not a question of friend or enemy. He's not my enemy. And hopefully someday maybe he'll be a friend. It could happen. But I just don't know him very well. I've met him a couple of times. And when I did meet him, most of you people were there. Well, I can't tell you what would be the ultimate. What would be the ultimate? Well, let's see. No more nuclear weapons anywhere in the world would be the ultimate, okay? No more wars, no more problems, no more conflict. Let's find a cure to every disease known to mankind or womankind. That would be my ultimate, okay? And we'll start from there.
Speaking on the ongoing trade war, Trump stuck to his argument that the US has been treated unfairly by the European Union.
No, many of them. In fact, Germany was going to be in the year 2028 or 30. Yeah, I think it's a very effective way to deal, but I didn't deal exactly the way you said. I have great respect for Germany. My father's from Germany. Both of my parents are from the EU, despite the fact they don't treat us well on trade, but I think that'll change also. And I think we'll see that because on the 25th of July, they're coming in to start negotiations with me. We'll see. And if they don't negotiate in good faith, we'll do something having to do with all of the millions of cars that are coming into our country and being taxed at a virtually zero level, at a very low level. But, Jeremy, I think it's been a very effective way of negotiating. But I'm not negotiating. I just want fairness for the United States. We're paying for far too much of NATO. NATO is very important. But NATO is helping Europe more than it's helping us. At the same time, it's very good for us.
So the bottom line is that whether the NATO will survive as a cohesive unit, or will it be a disunited house? The sort of issues which Trump has raised are for the first time. The architect of NATO is saying, which is America, that America is being treated unfairly. And NATO came into existence post-Marshall Plan, which is post the World War II. And it is in this context, whatever Trump is saying becomes very, very relevant. But one has to wait and see as to how the meeting between Trump and other dignitaries will go. One. Secondly, he has a meeting with Putin. And we have all seen the ups and downs, the volatility of relationship, the meeting in Singapore, and then the subsequent meeting of Pompeo with the Foreign Affairs Department officials in Pyongyang, and the North Koreans called him a gangster, and the Pompeo said then the world is a gangster. So I think the word is volatility of relationships. Nothing is permanent. It's changing very, very quickly, and I think that's what is being reflected in today's world. So Trump will be in Britain. That's not a state visit. Last time when Obama went, it was a state visit. One has to see how he bonds with the royals. Young royal came into controversy because Meghan Markle's father said that Harry told him that he doesn't like Trump. So, but that's unofficial. The official thing is the way things will pan out. I'm also joined by John Parrock, a WION's correspondent, live from Brussels. Jack, my question to you is, and thank you for joining me. With his criticism against Germany and others, Trump is taking on loyal allies of the United States. How has Trump's criticism gone down with the other NATO members, Jack?
Today we also decided to sustain...
I can't hear your questions too well, I'm afraid, but I'll try and explain a little bit about what's happened at the summit. Essentially, we've had 2 days of Trump bashing European allies for not spending enough money on defence and saying that they needed to raise it. There was real concerns that Trump was going to try and pull America out of the NATO military alliance. But in the end, he's come out and said, in fact, that NATO is stronger than ever after this 2-day summit, and that America is totally committed to it. And although it's better that America are a part of it for European allies, and that European allies benefit more from NATO, that America also benefits. So a real change of tack there. He leaves here to go to London on that note.
Thank you, Jack, so much for this update from Brussels. So the issue is whether the NATO will be a divided house, and how has other NATO alliance members taken the so-called verbal hectoring by the President of the United States of America.